I want you to figure out, what does love look like for you? Maybe it is, some words or an experience or gifts or time or acts of service. Are you prepared for what love can look like and feel like? And what does a life filled with love look like for you? Love is light and confident and comforting. What does it look like for you? Is it for you? It might be telling your people you love them consistently and regularly. Hi, welcome to Say More Words, a podcast that was created to emphasize the human experience through stories. I hope that you come here to learn, to expand, and most importantly, learn how to say more words. Speak your story, speak your truth, boo-boo. We're so happy you're here. Hey friends, how are you? Happy Wednesday, or whatever day of the week it is that you're listening to this. Our song of the day, I have it pulled up, is The Night We Met by Lord Huron. Is that how you say his name? Lord Huron? Y'all know I'm in a weird, Hoosier, bluesy, summertime feeling, laid back by the pool or a fire vibes. It's just been weird, eclectic style of music. And Lord Huron, we're going to say, is no different. And it's The Night We Met. It's one of my favorite, and I think possibly one of the best love songs ever written. So go ahead and listen to that, because today's episode is all about love. Now, this stems from an interaction that I had last week. I was renting some tables from Events and Experiences. If you are here in Colleyville, Texas, or in DFW, Events and Experiences, it's an excellent company owned by Kristen and Chelsea, and they host events, run events, have materials for events, all of that. And Chelsea was dropping off tables for an event that I was having for a podcast launch for one of my clients last week. And she was dropping them off, and we're talking, whatever. And as she was leaving, she's like, "All right, I'll see you later." And I'm like, "All right, love you, bye." And closed the door. And I was like, God, that was probably weird for her. And I felt a little bit weird in the moment too, because I was like, why do I feel weird in this space? And I started to realize, love is such an interesting concept. Now, romantic love, romanticized love, the love that we see in the movies is the love that we see most often. And because that is the love that we see most often, people feel weird telling other people they love them. I've also observed that when people grow up in homes where they're told "I love you" consistently, they have no problem expressing love to others. But if you didn't grow up in a home like that, where you're told "I love you" all of the time, or you're not surrounded by somebody who says "I love you" all of the time, it's an odd experience. It's an odd feeling, because we're kind of taught that romantic love, right? You gotta wait to say "I love you" to your person, and you've got to, it's almost, I've talked about before with y'all, forbidding joy. It's almost like forbidding love. Love should be held tightly and only certain people should have it. And I don't believe in that. I wasn't necessarily raised in a home where "I love you" was expressed consistently and regularly, but it is something that has always been a part of my vocabulary for those who are super important to me. And so when I said "I love you," it was weird. Or I was like, "Love you, bye," which is something that I say to everybody, friends, family, all of that. "Love you, bye," to Chelsea, and something I'd never said to her before. I was like, "Oh, that's kind of weird," but also I could see how that could be weird to other people. So I'm explaining this situation then shortly after to my friend Amanda, and she goes, "I'm not gonna lie, it was weird at first. When I first became your friend, it was weird how much you tell people you love them, and it was uncomfortable for me to hear it." Right? How many of you, I want you to sit and think about, if your friends or family tell you, I love you, how many of you feel uncomfortable in that space? How many of you feel like, oh, that's weird, like, or I don't know how to respond because that's not something that regularly happens in my space? Like, sit and think in that. Like, does it make you uncomfortable? Truly, the inability to accept love or that I love you state or the expression of love from others comes from a worthiness standpoint. Like, do you believe that you're worthy of love? Do you believe that you're worthy of random love? Do you believe that you're worthy of, like, that your closest confidants and your closest friends and the people around you expressing love to you? Do you believe that you are worthy of it? One of the things I started to was saying, one of my sayings is love you, mean it. And I say that to my people, I love you, I mean it, because it also, what those words together helps do for the psyche is it helps you believe that the person across from you actually says or means what they're saying. Because we live in a world in which so many people don't believe what others are saying to them. They don't believe in goodness or love or joy and things like that. So they also don't believe that love is real. How many of you don't believe that love is actually truly real? There are a lot of people who've been jaded by love, or somebody who said that they loved you used it in a sense of almost manipulation, or they didn't love you well, and so you have a hard time conceptualizing what love is or what it actually means. And when I'm with my people, I say I love you, I mean it, because I want you to believe it. I want you to believe that love is real and that love matters and it is important and that you matter and you are important. So after that interaction last week, I started to become hyper aware of my surroundings. So one of the things I teach my people all the time, you have to observe, right? You have to look at your surroundings, be aware of your surroundings. You have to have those conversations. You have to, in order to grow, you have to observe your surroundings. And I realized something really, really cool last week. And that is that everywhere I go, love comes back to me. Why? Because it's something I consistently and regularly give out. So people in my life very regularly and consistently tell me they love me, show me they love me, experience the joy in the world with me, like consistently and regularly, because that's something I do for them. I counted in one day, I was told I love you or love you by, love you, mean it, by people in my surroundings 35 times in just 8 hours. In just 8 hours. Partially because all of those people, I tell them that I love them regularly, and they've become comfortable and consistent in that love. It's so interesting that love is one of those resources that we can keep generating over and over and over and over again. And it's so easy to express to those that matter to us. But for whatever reason, our society has put this cap on it, almost like a greediness of like, this is my love and only certain people can have it. When in actuality, love is meant to be spread out, to be given, to be told, to be seen, to be shared consistently and regularly. Love is meant to be seen and shared. And so why do I say this? Why are we having this conversation? Why are we talking about love? Because love is one of those energies that brings you to a space of belonging. It brings you to a space of worthiness. It brings you to a space in which you can be validated, seen, and heard. One of the things I study regularly and consistently, and I present it to teams when I work with them and individuals when I work with them, is the love languages. How do you want to be loved? How do you want to be cared for and seen. It is no surprise that my top love language is words of affirmation, which is why I give out I love yous, and I compliment people consistently and regularly, because what goes out always comes back in. It's the law of reciprocity, right? What you put out into the world will always come back to you. And that is why, and because I have been that consistent person in people's lives, they are that consistent person in my life as well. Love is one of those energies. It can always be multiplied. You can always have more of it. You can always find more of it, just like joy. And it is a multiplier, just like joy. And so I want to challenge you, if you're in a space in which you feel awkward when people tell you they love you, or you feel uneasy, or you don't know how to respond, I kind of want you to sit in the space of, okay, so what am I unwilling to accept? Why does this feel awkward for me? And what does it look like for me to spread love and joy amongst the population, amongst your people? Now, I'm not saying you have to say it to a stranger on the street, but I am saying, like, the people that are closest to you will probably be shocked, but love is also a form of gratitude, right? So they'll be shocked to hear it. They would love to hear it. There are not enough of us as adults who heard it as kids, and there's not enough kids who hear it as well. Love equals safety and protection. If we go back to our primal days, before love was a word or a feeling or an experience or something that we romanticize or attach so many different things to, back then, love was protection and safety. Safety and protection were our first love languages. As long as we were safe, we could continue on with our lives. And so that was a form of love. Now, it's not one of the 5 love languages that Gary Chapman put together, but it is a form of love. Safety, it's primal. But we didn't say the words back then. And you may not have grown up in a home where it was said regularly, but I just want you to think about what it would feel like and what you want in that kind of experience, how you want people to show up for you. How do you want to be loved? And that's a really important question to ask yourself. How do you want to be loved? There's so many people on the planet who just expect the people around them to know how to love them. And that expectation is bullshit. I'm just going to tell you right now. It doesn't exist. That's not real. Because everybody wants love differently. Even if we have the 5 different love languages, that love can look different in all of those 5 different categories. How do you want to be loved? What does love feel like for you? And what does love not feel like for you? You can be in a partnership, a friendship, all these different things where you want to experience love in a different way than the people around you. And then you're expecting love, and they only know how to give out love in a certain way, and you're expecting it. And then all of a sudden you feel resentment and shame and blame and guilt and all of these different things, all these bad cycles around being loved, when in actuality, you didn't tell your people in the first place. So here's your challenge for the week. I want you to figure out, what does love look like for you? Maybe it is, some words or an experience or gifts or time or acts of service. Okay, The 5 Love Languages is a very short book. It's a great book by Gary Chapman. I highly suggest you get it. You can take the test at 5lovelanguages.com, which will be linked in the show notes. But I want you to think about, what does love look like for you? Are you getting enough love? Do you feel like you're getting enough love? Do you feel worthy of receiving the love you want to have? Are you prepared for what love can look like and feel like? And what does a life filled with love look like for you? Because a life filled with love that is meant for you consistently and regularly doesn't feel awkward. It doesn't feel shame. It doesn't feel blame. It doesn't feel resentment. It doesn't feel any of those things. Love is light and confident and comforting. And so just sit in that space. What does it look like for you? And so for you, it might be telling your people you love them consistently and regularly. That's what works for me. And that what's really great, like I said at the beginning, is that because I say it consistently and regularly to my people, they say it consistently and regularly to me back. So what does love look like for you? I would love for you, if you are on Spotify listening to this, to go to the show notes and leave us some comments. If you are listening to this, you like the show, please share it with somebody that you know, like, love, and trust. Download, subscribe so that we can reach more people through this medium. Say More Words exists to give you a space to hear stories, to challenge you to think differently, to grow and expand, and to challenge you to say more words. I'm so thankful that you're here in this space. Go to the show notes. There's a couple of different goodies for you there. And I will see you next time. Have a great week. Love you. Mean it.